Hello, and welcome to another episode of the FemiNinja Project. And thank you so much for tuning in. I have another fantastic guest with me today. His name is Robert Foster. He is an award winning international speaker, author, mental health advocate, and host of the hit podcast called Shut Up and Grind, who is on a mission to help others conquer self doubt and embrace their struggles as a foundation for success. He firmly believes that our past struggles are not our failures, they are our superpower. Robert has had his own personal struggles, who has defied the odds and proven the power of resilience. He is the author of the book titled Shut Up and Grind: Overcoming Self Doubt and the Fear of Public Speaking. Robert, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, you have such an incredible background and an incredible story. I just want you to share with the listeners how you got to this point in your life where now you're helping others find their own power, their resilience, and to move on with their lives and embrace their struggles as their superpower.
All right, so to understand who I am today, we have to revisit my childhood. So we got to start there. That way, because people always ask me, like, how can you, like, how are you able to? And understanding that foundational background makes everything I'm doing now, it just makes it more clear. So I'm the youngest of seven. So, like you, I too have four sisters and two brothers. And we were all athletes, and my parents were athletes as well. So me being the youngest, for whatever reason, I hit I hit puberty late. Right. So I'm watching my brothers and my older sisters, they're all my brothers are over 6 foot, they're muscular. One of my sisters was 5'9.5", she was strong, tearing it up in her sports. And I was just short and skinny. Right. I was like, what happened here? Like, do I have to start questioning paternity or something? Like, what is going on with me? Like, to put it in perspective, as a freshman in high school, I was 5'4", 88 pounds. Right? 5'4", 88 pounds. So the first time where I really had to step into my own power, I walked into the track coach's office because like all of us ran track and field. And I asked him for the record book. And no word about lie, he looks at me just like this. Why do you want the record book? Right? Just like that. I mean, I'm 13 years old, and this guy's looking at me like, you know. And then he says these words. Well, first I responded and said, I'm going to break the high jump record. And again, he gives me the up and down look. And he's like, you don't have what it takes to be a high jumper. He's like, why don't you try hurdles? And I was like, my sister high jumps. Like, I want to do that. Looks fun. Like, I want to high jump. Like, I'm going to break this record. And again, he was trying to force me in the direction of doing the hurdles until I threatened to quit. And so I got to work. Now I'm still short and I'm still skinny, right? But I got to work, and like that's the point of the story. It's not that yes, I did go on to break the records, but it was the journey to get there. When at that time, yes, the odds were against me. Being short, being skinny, didn't have much muscle on me. Yeah, the odds. I mean, the coach was probably right, but I didn't let that stop me from trying. And so this was back in the day before the internet. So I used to get on my bike, ride. It was about 3.5 miles to the library, and I would read books on the long jump, on the high jump, and I would look up training regimens, and I just started preparing myself for that moment. So we fast forward. So freshman year, yeah, I was no good. Like I was just not good at all. Sophomore year, I became good. Junior year, I became very good. Senior year, I was one of the elites. But it was a process, right? And then understanding that it's a process, that's what got me through everything else that I've been through. So, and for the record, I held the high jump record for 21 years. I
Wow.
hold I held the Southern Division triple jump record. Now, and there's like 16 schools in that division. I held that record for 24 years. And
Wow.
I left school with the pentathlon record also, which is 5 events. And again, and I don't share that to flex. It's like I share that to let people know just because somebody else thinks you can't do something doesn't mean you
Mm-hmm.
can't do it.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is something else that you and I have in common because the four sisters, I don't have any brothers. But out of the five of us girls, I am the small one. I'm 5'7" and I am the petite one. They're all much taller, they were all much stronger. I was so
Mm.
skinny as a child, my paternal grandmother accused my mother of running out of food to feed me. And my
That's
dad's,
great.
I know, and my father's nickname for me was Skinny.
Mm.
So it's like, hey, yeah, but now I'm the one that can take down somebody twice my size and half my age. So,
I love
but
it.
you're right. You never know what you can do until you try.
Yeah, and everything that I've been through. I mean, there's countless directions we can take in these next 50 minutes that you want to go on. But I'll start with the knee story. So I had a
Mm.
bad knee injury in 2009. So prior to that, my ex-wife abandoned myself and my 2-year-old son,
Oh.
just up and left, right? So that kind of put me into a little bit of a tizzy because I was your typical dad back then. I worked all the time and
Mm-hmm.
she was home with the kids. So I didn't know this kid's routine. I didn't know what medicines he was on, right? I didn't know any of that stuff. I was completely upended. And I was managing restaurants at the time. So, long story short, I ended up putting on like 40 pounds. And
Mm-hmm.
so now just a few years prior, I was an all-American athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one day I'm getting out of the shower and I catch my reflection in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
had man boobs.
Oh.
Never had man boobs a day in my life. And I was like, you know what? This stops today. And I made a decision that day. I ran through my house, got all the junk food out. I joined the gym that had free babysitting, and I bought a jogging stroller. I was
Mm-hmm.
cause I'm letting myself go. Like, what example am I being for my son if I'm not doing the things that I enjoy? It's like I need to see him. I mean, he needs to see me being happy and doing the things that I enjoy. So
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna learn those habits and prioritizing himself, right? So I get myself back into shape, and I was like, I think I want to compete in track and field again. So I was 31, I believe, when this happened, 31 or 32, somewhere around there. So now this was before I got into fitness. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I knew about working out, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really know how the body at that time. So I was the way I was training, I was giving myself a muscular imbalance. And I didn't know that. Like I know that now. I didn't know that then. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking I'm just gonna get my legs as strong as possible. But anyway, so the day the meet comes and I win the long jump in my age bracket, 30 to 34 age bracket. So I'm in the high jump, and now technically I have my bracket won already, but there's still one other guy competing,
Mm. Okay.
and he's 45. I was
Mm.
32. I'm not letting a 45-year-old beat me, right? That's competitor Rob, right? Competitor Rob, like, no, this is not old. But little did I know the decision to keep jumping was going to completely change my life. So he goes, he jumps, he misses. I go, I jump, I miss. But looking at him, I'm like, he's cooked. I'm like, he doesn't have anything left in the tank. I'm like, let me just take one more jump. But on this jump, I felt a tug, right? It
Oh.
was a tug. It wasn't painful. Like it wasn't enough to, to not make me jump again. Although, of course, hindsight, 2020, I should have
Mm-hmm.
stopped. But I go, and all the conditions are perfect too. It's like, let me just nail this jump and we just walk off in victory. So I go, I plant to jump, and then I saw white.
Oh.
Right? I don't know how long I saw white, but I just know I saw white. And then when I come to, I'm on the ground and I look down at my knee and my kneecap isn't there.
Oh.
My kneecap was up my quadricep. So it fully let go. Now, fortunately, there must have been some nerve damage because I didn't feel it. It's like I felt the separation, but there was no pain.
Uh-huh.
And so I yelled to Kelly to call for an ambulance and the athletic trainers coming over. And so now I had my hands like this over my knee. So when the trainer gets to me, it's like she can't see it. I said, I already have an ambulance on the way. And she's like, oh, I don't think you're going to need an ambulance until I moved my hands. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, how are you not screaming in pain right now? And I was like, oh, oh, I said, I can't feel any of this. I said, but the more important question is, how do I get my gold medals? And so she's like, that's your concern right now? I'm like, yes. Like, I have to wait for the ambulance, so I may as well get my medals.
Okay, so I have got to ask because I am
Go
a
ahead.
physical therapist, or I call
Mhm.
myself a recovering physical therapist. So, did your quadricep muscle actually separate from the patella,
So the
or did?
quadricep muscle didn't. The patella tendon separated from the
Oh,
tibia. Yes,
oof.
that and a bunch of other stuff in there as well. So the one sentence that could have altered my life in either direction, right? So we get to the ER. The ER doctor removes the brace that the EMTs put on, and he just takes one look and says, "Ooh, you're never gonna run or jump again."
Oh,
And now, mind you, I have 5 children, so they were 10, 7, 2, and twins who are 4 months old. At the time, this guy looks me dead in my eyes without an ounce of like empathy or bedside manner whatsoever. And it's just like, you're never going to run or jump. And so I looked up at Kelly. She's got tears in her eyes. I start tearing because I am human. I am human. Every now and then I might explore the dark path. And I was like, so I'm never going to be able to play basketball with my kids. Like, I'm never going to be able to play volleyball with my kids. Like, I'm not going to be able to go for a run or do any of this stuff. But then guess what happened?
what?
Competitor Rob came back, right? And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. This dude can't tell us how we're going to heal, right? He can't tell us how we didn't even have the surgery yet. And that this dude's trying to define my outcome. And I was like, no thanks. No, I did swear at him. I was like, you don't effing know me like that. I was like, you don't know what I'm willing to go through. It's like how can you put that on me? And right from there, right now, granted, when the surgery first happened, it hurt like crazy, like
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because from what Kelly told me, it was supposed to be 2.5 hours. She said I was out over 4 hours.
Oh,
So I guess the doctor or one of the nurses had said when he initially sewed everything back together that it was too high, and he had to undo it and then redo it. Yeah. So the pain was excruciating. So for a split second, I was like, what if he's right? you know,
oh.
I was like, what if he's right? But then once I had my first follow up, because I went home with a walker. I had a
Mm-hmm.
walker and crutches in a wheelchair. And now I had just started fitness, right? Because I lost my management job 7 months prior. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to just pursue this fitness thing because I had already started it. Well, I started in my spare bedroom. Then I went to my basement. Then I went to my garage. And then I went to a playground, right? And so I was making enough money to stay afloat with
Mm-hmm.
fitness. But like, so this injury happens. And I was like, I have to teach my classes, right? So I would drive to the park. Now, I wasn't cleared to drive, but it's like, they're not the boss of me. Right? If I feel like I can drive, I'm gonna drive. So I would drive to the playground. A couple of my clients would get there early. They would take the wheelchair out of the back of my van. They'd set it all up for me. Right? I'd get in the wheelchair. They'd push me to whatever part in the park we were. I'd bark my orders for an hour, and then they would help me load everything up and help me get back in the car. Right? Because you got to do what you got to do. Right? It's like I like this shut up and grind thing. This if I can tell a side story quick, unless you have a follow up question.
No, I am just embracing and taking all of this in. I am just absolutely number one. I finally met somebody as stubborn as me, and that is
Yes.
just I love that. And the creativity and the flexibility, and it's like here you are, with a wheelchair, a walker, crutches, all this stuff, and you're going to teach fitness.
Yeah, I only took 1 week off, and then I was right back at it.
And the fact that I kind of love this, I don't, but I do. The fact that the guy told you, the doctor says you're never going to run again. I mean, I was told something very similar when I was in my 30s. But the
Mm,
fact that this is the genius that tied the tendon up too high and had to redo it while you were under anesthesia.
yeah,
Yeah, the irony just kind of like smacks me in the face.
So true. So true. Yes. All right. So I'm back to teaching my classes. So
Okay.
I start physical therapy now. And so two of my four quad muscles had complete atrophy. Like they just were not firing on their own at all. So I had to do electric stim.
Mhm.
And to give you another deeper insight into how my mind works, they told me minimum 3 hours a day. They didn't give me a maximum. so so I kept that thing on all day long. All day long. I stayed on top of all of my exercises, all of my stretches. I had a CPM machine that helps
Mhm.
bend your leg. I did that same thing. Like if I wasn't up and like cooking or doing something, I was on the couch, leg going up and down, muscles being zapped, like literally all day. And Kelly's even saying, she's like, "Do you think you're doing too much?" I said, "They gave me minimums. They did not give me maximums." I said, "So I'm gonna do this as much as I can." And so we'll fast forward a few months. So I get cleared to go back to work. I'm at, now, mind you, they said I was going to rehab for about 18 months. I got released after 4.5.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So um, I'm at the track with my kids because like they just like to run around, climb the rocks and all that at this particular track. And I was like, let me see if I can get both feet off the ground. Right. Because you don't know till you try. Right.
Right.
So I was like, all right, here goes. I leaned back and I ran. Now, granted, I looked like a newborn giraffe,
Mhm.
but I ran. I got both feet off the ground. It wasn't painful. That was the moment where I knew I was making 100% recovery. You know, because
Mhm.
that little bit of doubt, you know, like I said, I'm human just like everyone else, but it's like
Mhm.
you gotta learn to silence that noise, and that's where the shut up comes from. It's like I
Mhm.
was a guest on someone else's podcast, and they're like, "So, why do you tell people to shut up?" I'm like, I don't tell people to shut up. I help people silence that inner critic. It's like
Mhm.
that's the shut up. The I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not smart enough. Those voices, you need to shut those voices up and get on the path to whatever it is you
Mhm.
want to accomplish.
Yep, I always tell that little voice, it's like shut up, go away, mind your own business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yep.
Because that inner critic, man, that can just destroy you. Imagine if you had
True.
listened to that when you were going through
Yes.
that. Where would you be now?
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed. All right. So adding another layer to the story. So this happened July 19th of 20, when was this? 2009. Right. So we're gonna fast forward to December. So I'm
Hmm.
starting to feel okay. I'm starting to feel okay. My quad
Hmm.
muscles were starting to fire again, and things, you know, the knee discomfort was a lot better. Like I still
Hmm.
wore a brace just to be safe, but now it's Christmas, right? It's
Hmm.
Christmas. Everybody loves Christmas.
Hmm.
So the phone rings. It's my sister, and I'm thinking, you know, she's gonna call to talk to my kids. I'm gonna call. Wow, sorry, something just dinged in my ear,
Oh,
and
I didn't hear it. So,
it scared me, and my hesitation. I'm like, what was that? I think it's my email server is still open. And so I pick up the phone. I'm my typical chipper self. I'm like, hey, sis, Merry Christmas. And her, the tone of her voice was very somber.
hmm.
So I was like, what's happening? And she
Hmm.
said she had a pain in her leg, and she went to the ER to get checked because it was hurting her that bad. So throughout all the testing, they find out her kidneys are failing.
Oh.
Like I don't remember the illness she had, but she just had some rare kidney defect. And she said that they were at like around 10 or 12% function. And she's like, I'm gonna need a transplant. I was like, all right, well, I'm like, out of the seven of us, I said, I'm by far the healthiest. I
Hmm.
said, and I control my schedule.
Hmm.
I said, so I don't have to worry about PTO and all this other stuff. Like I'm in full control of my schedule, right? Leave it there.
Hmm.
So now technically she's my half sister, but
Hmm.
we don't play the half game, right? But so it's like we have the same dad. So when I went for the testing, they said that there's a 6 scale, and we were a 2 out of 6. And so I was like, is that good enough? Because like I don't want to cut myself up, rewire myself, and have her body just spit it back out.
Right.
Right. It's like I don't want that. I mean, if 6 is the best, like we're not even 50%. Right? But
Wow.
the surgeon said he's like everything will be fine. It's like okay, so game on. And now life just loves to throw lemons, right? Just love it loves to. So we both get the go ahead. Like we saw the counselors and the kidney doctors and all this stuff. She ends up getting sick with a virus. So we couldn't do the transplant until the virus left her system. So this was April of 2010. Okay,
Okay.
April of 2010. We didn't do the transplant until May 26th of 2011.
Oh,
So now for me, it was just a wait because I'm healthy.
yeah.
For her, it sucked because dialysis was making her sick. Like
Oh.
it got to the point where she would skip some, and
Mm.
I'd be like, D, you can't skip. Like you skip, you're gonna die. I'm like, help is coming. I said, you just gotta be patient. Gotta be patient. And she's like, I don't want to change your mind and all this. I'm like, why would I change
Oh.
my mind? You're my sister. Like, why on earth would I change my mind? But then you watch Dr. Phil, and there's
Uh-huh.
family members who actually, I mean, I know some of that stuff is scripted, but like there's people like who refuse to give a kidney to their loved one. Like these two brothers, one brother completely refused to give his kidney to the other one. So I guess it does happen. So now that I'm almost fully back with my knee, now I get my abdomen cut open. But
Oh.
it went well. Well, first that's funny too, because the surgeon comes in and he's like, so typically over the years, we extract the kidneys from the back, and
Right.
he's like, well, we're experimenting with a new way of taking it through the abdomen, right? He's like, it's much less invasive and it's a much faster recovery. My question was, how new,
Right. And how many
right?
have you done?
Yes, that's what would I ask him. I was like, I'm not like number 3, right? He's like, no. He's like, I've done over 100 of these. I was
Oh.
like, all right, that's a good enough sample size. But if I was like in the single digits, I'd have been like, no, no.
Mm-mm.
It's like I'll deal with the extra pain and the extra recovery. But if you've done 100, and he's like, you're gonna have a scar like this big. And
Mhm.
because like my cousin donated a kidney to my other cousin years ago, and she has like a massive scar on her back. This is like in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that like if I look at it, sometimes I have to look hard to even see it. Like
Uh-huh.
it's so small. So with me, I was like, we did the surgery on the Thursday. I was released on Saturday, and but she had to stay for like 6 weeks or so.
Mhm.
But yeah, so even now, again, this was 2011, so we're in 2025, so it'll be a 14-year anniversary this year. And the doctor said, because like she's 5'3", I want to say, maybe 5'4" at best,
Mhm.
and I'm 6'2", and so the doctor said that my kidney was way bigger than hers, and that it
Mm.
should, knock on wood, it should last her the rest of her life, because
Mhm.
typically they say kidneys last around 15 years. But she
Mhm.
said just because of the size of mine, again,
Mhm.
knock on wood, hopefully it'll take her all the way through.
Mhm.
So now the next twist from there is there's an obstacle race that was starting that September. And so
Mhm.
again, we did the surgery May 26th. And I told the surgeon, I was like, I'm doing this race second week in September. And
Mhm.
he's like, we're cutting through your abdomen. He's like, you may not want to do that soon. I said it's on the calendar. He's like, Mr. Foster. He's like, I'm telling you, it's on the calendar.
Mhm.
And right. So it probably took about 30 days. I mean, I definitely started sooner than they wanted me to,
Mhm.
but like I was back teaching my classes in 4 days. And now, granted, this is probably stupid, but still, like I said, when you're just starting and that's my sole source of income, like if I don't come, they're not going to pay me,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
it's like I have to show up. So I just sat in an office chair and I wheeled myself around. I was renting space in a dance studio at this point, so I was wheeling myself around. I had a pillow like shoved on my belly because I kind of had to stay hunched over.
Uh-huh.
And that was how I taught my 4 classes. And then I got back in the car, in the van, and I drive back home. But I I ran that race. That was my first obstacle race. So after being told I would never run or jump again,
Mm-hmm.
I've run
Mm-hmm.
200 obstacle races, including a half marathon, including I think I've done 19 Spartan Beasts. I've
Mm-hmm.
done a Spartan Ultra, which was 30 miles with obstacles. I
Jeez.
but the story wasn't complete until I got back on the track. And that took me 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 7 years to get the courage to jump again. Just because, I mean, yes, I got through it, but that stopped. And I don't want to do that again. Like, I don't ever want a surgery that invasive again. So it was, so doing the transplant. Sorry, my brain was going to two different places
That's
there.
okay.
So in doing the transplant, there's this Olympic style competition called the Transplant Games of America. So they have like a full track meet, and there's like ping pong, and there's a 5K, it's
Mm-hmm.
so many events, but it's like an Olympic style competition. I said, all right, so you know what, I'm going to compete in the Transplant Games. So now it's bigger than me because I'm on Team New England. We're raising money for New England Donor Services, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just me wanting to get back out there for my own ego, because I can easily talk myself out of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now if I'm part of a team, I said I don't have any expectations. I'm just gonna show up, compete, and just check it off the list. But the thing is I won. I won the high jump. Like I
Of
was just
course you
gonna
did.
take
Of
I was
course.
I was just gonna take a jump or two. That was it. But I
Mm-hmm.
ended up winning. So I did tweak my right quad during the 100 meter dash, but I still placed third. And I still took second in the long jump, even with the tweaked quad. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I literally took my finger, I pressed it in
Mm-hmm.
while I ran down, and because I jump off my left leg. So and yeah, I did enough to get second overall. And and again, I share these stories not to make myself look good. It's to
Mm-hmm.
tell people, right? Like I started my podcast because people get stuck and then they stay stuck. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to stay stuck, because struggle doesn't care what color you are, doesn't care what
Mm-hmm.
gender you are, doesn't care what God you serve. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't care about any of that stuff. Everybody struggles with something at some point. And I share my stories because I've been through a lot and we haven't even scratched the surface, right? So, but that's how you build that resilience. So going through
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, I call myself emotionally bulletproof. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
literally nothing else that I could go through that can make me have a meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost everything before. That was just 2 years ago, actually, 2023. I threw my keys on the desk and I walked away from my business. Lost everything, right? That's a whole episode in itself. But like I've been through divorce. I watched my father take his last breath.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? It's like there's so much that I've been through. I had a strained relationship with one of my kids. We've since made back up. Now I have a strained relationship with another one of my kids, and we're in the process of making back up. It's like life just constantly throws stuff at you, but you still have to show up. Like the
Mm-hmm.
day after my dad died, I had a podcast scheduled. I easily could have canceled it. Nobody would have
Mm-hmm.
judged me for canceling it. But I
Mm-hmm.
come on these platforms and I'm like, you got to show up. You got to show up. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to show up. So I spent the first 10 to 15 minutes of that episode bawling my eyes out.
Oh.
But when you show up authentically.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, my soul was crushed. I mean, I had that man for 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's people that never even met their father,
Mm-hmm.
and I had him for 45 years, and just reliving the memories and the
Mm-hmm.
talks and the times I wanted to punch him in the face, right? It's like you remember you remember all of that stuff. So just in that moment, it was still so real and so raw. I was like, I have to show up. Like I even told my guest who was waiting in the backstage. I was like, just give me a few minutes to get this out. I was like, then I'll bring
Mm-hmm.
you on and it'll be all about you. I said, but I
Mm-hmm.
may as well get on the public platform and
Mm-hmm.
just air it out, because too many times we run from our pain, we run from our hurt. But like, the more I talk about, like, if I talk about him from the time he got sick, this was January 2019, to when he died in November of 2019. Like, if I tell that whole story, I can't get through that whole story without getting emotional. I can't. Like, I can talk about bits and pieces of it and be fine. And but if I tell the whole thing, it's like, no. Like, I was on a podcast about grief last month, and myself and the host were like, we both cried almost the entire episode. Right? It's like she's sharing, and she's like, I'm sorry. I'm sharing. I'm like, all right, give me a minute. Right? But it's about grief. Grief hurts, right? Exactly. Like, it's okay to hurt, right? Yep. It's okay to ask for help. Like, this whole I'm independent thing. Like, I'm sorry, but independence the dumbest thing you can be. We need each other. We were put on this planet to work together. Let's join forces. Take your skill and my skill, and let's create something beautiful. Instead of, no, I could do it all myself. Like, but
and just the sense of community.
Yes,
absolutely. And connecting with each other. And I keep telling people that's why I do this podcast and continue to do it, because I believe that if we can share each other's stories like this on platforms and other people can hear them, we're going to reach so many people who are suffering. And I think that we can make the world a better place.
I agree.
And maybe that's just Pollyanna, but I really think that, when we share each other's stories, it just makes us stronger. And we need that human connection, which is why COVID was just such a, devastating situation, because we had to stay away from each other. And it's like, that's just dumb.
Yeah. And the silver lining there, like, not dismissing the bunches of people who died, but that was a launching point for my podcast, because the gyms were closed, right? So it was like, we're sitting here doing Zoom classes. So I was like, all right, so I can't go anywhere. I may as well learn something. And so I joined several different masterminds and learned about branding, about media exposure, all that stuff. And I actually started getting consistent with my podcast, because speaking of COVID, so just before my father died, I told him I was going to make it as a speaker. And he's like, just get out there and just do it. And so I had 8 paid gigs lined up for early 2020. And you know how that turned out. So at first it was like, is this a sign? Like, is this a sign that I'm not supposed to do this? It's like, I finally put some effort behind it, and I got decent gigs, like at 2 hospitals, at like 4 schools, another corporate gig here, and just gone. And so, like, I backed off a little, and then I just leaned into it, because, like, I didn't know how to get guests. Like, I don't really know how to navigate the podcast, because I used to do what most people do. They send you talking points, and you ask them the pre-written questions. And I'm looking at the questions like, I don't want to know any of this. It's like, I want to connect with the person. It's like, I just spent an hour with you, and I know nothing about you. Because you gave me all these cherry-picked questions. So I stopped it, and I just do a free-flowing question. The very first thing I ask people is, I ask them to describe themselves. But then I have to preface it, because people give their resume, right? I'm like, I don't want your resume. Who are you? How I mentioned competitor, Rob. Right. So, like, when people ask me, how do you describe yourself? I'm like, at my core, I'm a competitor. Before I became a dad, before I became an author, before I became a podcast host, before I became all of that stuff, I was a competitor. Going back to skinny me, looking at my siblings, looking at my brother walking around with this triple jump record on his t-shirt. Little did he know, I had a notepad and I wrote him down. Right, like, I hadn't even hit puberty yet, but I was like, that's going down. Right. So when you show up as your true authentic self, like, I had a speaker coach tell me, you're not going to be taken serious as a speaker if you show up in a tank top. I said, I'm an athlete and a gym manager. This is what I wear every day. Right, like, if I showed up in a suit, that's not me being me. It's like, I wore a suit on Saturday because I was at a red carpet event. So then you kind of have to. right? But I was so uncomfortable. I was like, I can't wait to get out of this because that's just not me anymore. When I managed restaurants, yes, we had to wear a shirt and a tie,
Right.
but this is me, and I want to show up as me. With my show, I've done 344 episodes. I got 345 in 20 minutes, right? And
Mhm.
any platform that I've been on, I've only had one person question my shirt in the beginning. In the beginning, at the end, I was like, still worried about my shirt.
How do you like my shirt now?
Exactly. Like it's the content. Like on Podmatch, when people choose to deny me,
Uh-huh.
and it's like I just go back in. I'm like, hey, can we at least do a pre-call,
Hmm.
right? And the ones that agreed to a pre-call, every one of them have booked me.
Hmm.
It's like just looking at my profile, because honestly, I really don't deny anyone. Like if anything polarizing, like if anyone's like overly religious
Uh-huh.
or overly political, I stay away from those topics. But like pretty much everything else is fair game, because I basically do a timeline of the person's life, like kind of
Hmm.
how I share mine. I started in the beginning, and then this happened, and then this happened. Like it's really just a timeline.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and
Yes.
it works very well.
Thank you. All right. So
So,
where did I leave off? Oh, no, go ahead.
oh no, I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying to remember where you left off. I
Think
think
transplant
it was.
games.
I think it was when you threw your keys down and stuff and walked away from your business, or was that?
Oh yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because that was just a whole thing. So I was renting space, and got to be careful to not name drop. All right,
Hmm.
so I was renting space at a big old gym, and so COVID happened, and so obviously I had very minimal income coming in, and this guy's like ruthless in business. Like he just doesn't care. He's like, oh well, my bills aren't going down. So because I was like, do I have to pay if I'm not in there, I'm not utilizing it,
Right.
right? So anyway, so I got behind with him on rent. So we fast forward a little bit, and I was like, because he managed another gym as well.
Hmm.
Well, I should say he owned. There was no manager there, right? So yeah, there was not a manager there at all. So I made a deal with him. I was like, all right, how about I run that for you, and I'll implement a group fitness program, and we'll earn what I owe you. I was like, you don't have to worry about paying
Yeah.
me. And he threw in the caveat that I couldn't build my business. Like he didn't want me taking those leads and funding them into my. So it kind of made sense. So it's
Hmm.
like you may find this hard to believe, but I believe in my talents, right? So I
No.
I, I knew I wasn't going to have a problem raising what I owed him. And then we were actually gonna merge our two businesses, and then he was just gonna
Mm-hmm.
pay me. That's what the game plan was. So can't build my business,
Hmm.
right? And he's not paying me, right? So,
Hmm.
but now me being the eternal optimist that I am, I was like, I'm in a good situation. I said, I just need to be paid. Like if he just pays me, everything is fine,
Hmm.
right? Because he didn't really micromanage me. It's like I saw him once every couple of weeks, maybe. So I had complete free reign of the entire operation. So I was like, all right, if I just wait it out a bit, because he would say enough just to keep me on the hook, right?
Hmm.
So I'm like, all
Right.
right, I'm like, okay, so we raised X amount of dollars. It's time to merge the businesses. It's time for you to pay me. And he just kept dragging his feet, dragging his feet, dragging his
Hmm.
feet. So I ended up getting a repossession notice for my car, because mind you, so now as I'm losing clients, because nobody stays forever, right?
Right.
So as I'm losing people, I have no way to replace that income, because he said I can't build my business. So I ended up losing my car, get
Mm.
an eviction notice on my house, and I'm like, dude, like it's time to join the businesses, right? And then he was trying to tell me that I owed him like double of what I owed him. I'm like, what are you talking about? And again, foolish me, I should have got it in writing. So
Hmm.
you live and you learn. So finally, it got to a point. So now I'm evicted. Okay, my kids are split up. It was like
Oh.
my three little ones went with their mom. My oldest son, he was already on his own. My oldest daughter went to my mom's house, and I'm bouncing around in hotels trying to keep my pride together, you know. So
Oh.
and so this dude, when I walked away, I mean, just before I walked away, so I'm at the gym. I signed up a few people. He sends me a text message, not hey, how are you? Do you need anything? He just says so and so is coming in at 5:30 to sign up for a membership. That was it. I was like, this guy has zero intentions of paying me.
Mm-hmm.
And so there, I was like, I had texted my mom, and I was like, can you come pick me up? Because mind you, I had no car, and so it was supposed to snow because I had hotel points, so I was actually
Mm-hmm.
gonna spend the night, one more night in a hotel with a hot tub, and then, but it was supposed to snow that next day. So so she's like, I can pick you up like after 4:30, and now this is like 11. Right? And I
Uh-huh.
was like, I'm not staying here 5 more hours. I was like, I'm not. And so I just said, how much is an Uber down there? And it was $44. I was like, done. And I went home. Yeah, I went home. So now, but it's not about living back at home. It's about what you do while you're there.
Right. Okay,
Right?
so
She's
when you say
Go
you're
ahead.
living back at home, you're living with your mother.
Yes,
Yes. Okay, and you were how old?
I was 48 just two
There you
years
go.
ago.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So the thing is so I get there, and everything that Dad used to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did all of the outside stuff. So this was 3 years after he passed, and
Mm-hmm.
there was probably 3 years worth of leaves on the ground. Right. So when I first got there, because like at first I wasn't gonna go back into fitness. I was like, I gotta figure out what I need to do, but I'm a workhorse. So I was like, all right, let me get this yard right. And it took me a few weeks. Like there was so much stuff out there, a few weeks, but come to find out, mom needed me there just as much as I needed her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually working out because I'm still there. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
working out quite well because she's 73 now.
Mm-hmm.
Like since I've been there, it's only been 2 years. She's had a knee replacement, and she just recently beat breast cancer a few months ago.
Oh.
So it's like having myself and my daughter there. It's a huge benefit to her because like
Mm-hmm.
if I had to move out now,
Yeah.
I could, but
Yeah.
I'm there with her.
Yeah.
It's like she wants me to be there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I'm out of there more than I'm there anyway, because
Right.
I'm
Right.
usually up here at the gym. So I teach four classes here. Like I'm speaking on your platform. I have my platform right after this, and then I coach high school track and field. So it's like I'm out of the house more than I'm in the house. But when I'm there, I handle all of the stuff that Dad used to handle,
Mm-hmm.
and I pay half the bills, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
freeloading. So I got to pay
Mm-hmm.
half the mortgage, half the utilities. Like she runs a kitchen on Wednesdays and Sundays. I help her carry her coolers to the car because
Mm-hmm.
everything is heavy. So it's like, yes, she's helping me, but I'm also helping her. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a win-win for both of us. My second book is going to be titled "From My Mother's Basement."
Oh, now, okay, you have got to promise me that when it gets published, you will contact me and I can have you on the show again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because in that time, it's like I know our time is ticking. So in that time, so the first few weeks, yeah, I was depressed, obviously. I'm
Right.
48 years old, I lost everything, and I'm literally in my mom's basement. Right. So it's like I am the epitome of a loser. Right. So this one day, I it was actually the first show I did because obviously I paused my show. I'm like, I'm feeling like crap right now. I just lost everything. Like I can't, in that moment I couldn't show up. Like I just can't. Like I
Right.
can't show up and speak authentically when my world just freshly crumbled. It's like with my dad's death. I mean, death is a part of life. It's coming for all of
Right.
us.
Right.
So that was easier for me to come to terms with. But now it's like I just upended my entire world,
Mm-hmm.
and without a game plan moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I restarted my show, And this guest actually helped me greatly because at first I was going to pivot into digital marketing. And this guest told me about when she moved from Canada to Hollywood. She's like, I knocked on every door till I got a yes.
Mm-hmm.
She said every door. So, because now this is April of 2023, like track season usually starts in March.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I could go to my old high school because the track coach I had, he's still coaching.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's still coaching. And he's not the one that didn't believe in me though. I only had that guy my
Mm-hmm.
freshman year, and I had the current coach for the other three. But I was like, you know what? Let me just go down there and just ask, right? You never know. So I go see coach, and he's like, yeah, it's like, you can come up and be a volunteer coach. You can work with the jumpers and the sprinters. He's like, come up Monday, and so Monday comes. I get to the school. I rode my bike because I still don't have a car. So I ride my bike to the school, and we don't even have enough time to get into all of that with the bike. Oh Lord. But I get there, and as I'm working with the athletes, it relit the fitness in
Uh-huh.
my soul. It just relit it like that it just sparked it right back. And I was like, this is where I belong. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother actually lent me some money because I was like, I need something motorized. So I went out and I bought a moped. Right. So I went from bike to moped. Right. And now, if people don't believe in a higher power, I mean, there were things that happen where it's like that it has to be something, right? It has to be something. So I get this moped. It was used, and so I was like, all right, I got to get myself back in shape. And so there's a Planet Fitness about 20 minutes or so from where I live in Charlestown. And as I'm going past the Planet Fitness, so this gym I'm in now, I knew this one was here. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
East Greenwich, Rhode Island. I didn't know there was one in Wakefield, which is closer to Charlestown. And so as I'm going by, I was like, I said, let me see what they're about. So I get the Planet Fitness, I pull it up on my phone, and I was like, all right, looks like a similar philosophy to what I was doing in my gym. I was like, on the way back, let me stop in. And so I stop in, I meet the owner's son and the owner's wife. And so we just got to talking about collaborating and my experience and all that. And I met the owner the next day, and we hit it off, right? So now,
Mm-hmm.
so we hit it off. So now we were supposed to have a deeper meeting a day or two later. As I'm on the way, the moped dies. It dies. And I was like, was this thing, was it sole purpose just to get me to meet with John? It's like it served its purpose and it just died. And there was
I
no
can
way to
I,
fix
I can quit now. I've done my duty.
it. Yes, yes, but yeah. So I met with John. We co-taught a couple classes down in Wakefield, and then we started talking about this location. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, who manages this place? And he's like, oh, well, he's like, I'm there on Mondays. He's like, but I'm like, so no one. Right? Because it's like you can't run the operation on one day a week. And so we got to talking. So my mom let me borrow her car Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but she needed it the rest of the week. I said, I just need to get up there and just get things started. Right. I walked in that first day, and this was in July of 2023. I said, 90 days, I'm going to be running this whole operation. I said that on the
Mm-hmm.
first day. October, John says, do you think? Literally in 90 days. I had called it to a T because I just came in and just went to work. Like people always say, what's the, like, how did you become an author? So I started writing.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like we like to over what's the word?
Analyze. Yeah.
Oversimplify,
Yeah.
overanalyze. Yes. Yeah, like you want to start a podcast? You're like, what equipment do I need to get started? Your phone. Just
Yeah.
start there. Get used to talking on camera. Get
Mm-hmm.
used to telling your story. Then when you're good, you can get the green screen and you can get the fancy lights and all this
Yeah.
other stuff, the graphics made. Like you don't need any of that in the beginning. Just get it turned on the camera and just start talking. In the beginning, you're going to be talking to absolutely no one. Right? That's just
Absolutely. That's
right.
that's how
That's
you
just how it
start.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like I'm just starting to dabble on TikTok now. And like my first live, I think I had 11 people, but it's like I'm not known on that platform.
Yeah.
But the second one I did, I had a lot more. I think I had about 80 or so on that one. but it's like you just have to show up, be consistent, and just let it. Using the garden analogy, you got to keep watering it. You got to keep
That's
watering
right.
it. That first little thing is gonna pop up, and then it's gonna keep going and keep growing. Next thing you know, it bears fruit. Like, so anything you do in life, it's exactly the same. Like I said, and it doesn't matter anybody's starting point. It does not matter if you come from a rich family or if you come from the worst part of the hood. It doesn't matter. All you need is a vision, drive, perseverance. If you can do that, like I mentioned, we live in the country.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, our family was in the projects in Queens, New York, and my father left us there, came up here, to Rhode Island, got a job building submarines. Like my mom said, she came up like once or twice a month, to help, because they were house hunting.
Right.
Like dad was like, we are not staying in that environment. Like, we're
Uh-huh.
not doing it. And he ended up getting us to where we are now. About maybe an acre and a half of land, great school system, great neighborhood, safe neighborhood. It's like, and nobody helped him with that. The government didn't help him with that. He made the decision, I'm doing this, I'm getting my family out of here. So wherever your starting point is, it doesn't matter. Again, vision, drive, perseverance.
Robert, I could talk to you all day long, but I'm watching the time for you because I know you have your
Yes.
own show to get to in about 4 minutes. So just
Yes.
give the listeners a couple of links, how they can find you, where they can find you, how they can connect with you, any of that information. Everything's in the show notes, but I really like for you to tell the listeners yourself in your own voice.
Absolutely. So the book is easy, shutupandgrindbook.com, or you can search for it on Amazon, but that'll bring you directly to the link. So that's shutupandgrindbook.com. My podcast, you can find it on Spotify. Again, just Google Shut Up and Grind. It'll be the first one that pops up. And they're similar to you. I bring guests on from all over the world to just share their stories of overcoming. Because people, like, when I do my shows, it doesn't happen now because I'm not on my show. But above us, it says your true power lies in your story. And it does. It's like, if you've been through something, reach out to platforms like mine, like yours, or any platform that's about self improvement, and just share your story. So website, robertbfoster.com. I have a free giveaway. It's a worksheet from my book. It's prioritizing yourself without the guilt. And
nice.
And just a quick one about the book itself. It's 15 chapters, but in those 15 chapters, there's 13 worksheets. Because people always say, how do I this? How do I that? I wrote the book to show people how. Like, and I can turn that book into a masterclass and charge $10,000 for it. It's $20. You know what I mean? It's $20, and it's a complete how-to overcome whatever it is you've gone through, and how to turn it into something inspirational.
Okay, the one last thing I want to ask you, and that is, if that skinny little kid way back when could look into the future, or if somebody would have told him where he would be at this point in his life, what would you have said?
That's a solid question. Usually nothing ever throws me off. Like, I'm always ready. Like, my stories are so dialed in. But I got asked before, what would I tell my 21-year-old self?
Okay.
Because that young kid, I'm not sure what I would tell him, because there were some pitfalls along the way. So I don't know. But what I told my 21-year-old self was to be smarter with your money. Because I got into management early, and I blew. Looking back now, I blew so much money. God, if I invested half of it, right, I'd have 8 figures right now if I invested half of it. But yeah, I would just tell that kid, just, you already believe in yourself. Just keep believing in yourself. Like, people are gonna try to knock you off along the way. Just don't let it happen.
And shut up and grind.
Yes, just get it done.
It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I have to tell you, my face is a little bit sore right now from laughing. It has just been an honor. I just love having you on the show. And please let me know when you publish your second book, because I'd love to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I definitely will.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. What an incredible, energetic, and fun episode this was, and so much inspiration and tenacity. And it just proves that there's so much resilience and strength in the human spirit, and to never,
Yes.
ever give up. And let me see, and make sure you do prioritize yourself without the guilt. And that is the
Yes.
way of the FemiNinja.